the runny melting Mars bar, which Good evening. And welcome back. Yes, we haven't been on air for a little while. Because of various things and illness and Wayne putting his hip out through trying to get the page through page 3 of the Kama Sutra. It's all, that's why that's left there. Apparently his missus is in complete agony. I don't know what that's all about and I don't want to know. But how the very devil is everybody? How are you all doing? And yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad?
Not bad at all. Feeling pretty good.
Stop feeling yourself on camera. It's not pleasant or nice. It's really... one thing I would like to say before I even get started, it's not meant to bring the show down or anything. A year ago, buried my mum, cremated her, and I just want to say, heaven gained a very, very grumpy angel who, if anybody who's read the Terry Pratchett books knows what Granny Weatherwax character is, you'll understand what my mum was like. So we all miss you, you daft old bugger. Anyway, what you been up to?
Non-stop paranormal investigating. Been out every weekend for the last 5 weeks.
And you still got a missus?
Sorry?
You still got a missus?
Some of the melon was with me.
Oh, where was
it was a mixture of filming with Truth Beyond Paranormal, a couple of events, and then personal public events, and then a couple of invited events. Some events that I was invited along to.
Was it the kids investigating?
No.
Well, next time I come down, I'll bring my exorcism kit and we'll sort Freddy out, all right?
Ethan came on one of them, and he really enjoyed it, so that was good. And yeah, we tried out a new application for the phone, and it's a spirit camera.
Hi, Joe. Hi, Emma.
And it works on the very same principle as an EMF meter or one of the normal voice apps.
Just in case you wonder what Wayne's going on about, he does other stuff, and he's blatantly plugging his own stuff on our show. But it's absolutely okay because Wayne, so it's okay. You go.
I'm not. I'm just actually, talking about.
Where'd you get it from? For a start,
I'm just talking about this application that we were using.
Is it the camera or the app?
It's an actual app, but it takes EMF pictures. Right. It's a Spirit TV box, I think it's called. It's Android.
All right.
We can't find it on iOS. So for iPhones, there's nothing for it, but it's only on Android. And what it does is it literally comes up with white noise.
Yeah.
On the speaker, and it comes up with white noise on the screen, on the old static.
Yeah.
Then at random, it will take a photo. It just literally, if the EMF. Sorry?
Has it got a picture of an old TV?
Yes.
Right,
now, we had taken these pictures were being taken, and it transfers it straight to your gallery. But it also plays white noise and goes through radio frequencies. What confused us more than anything is we're 3 floors down in a nuclear bunker, and we would get. and we were getting American radio station, and it was playing songs, and it was playing adverts. Now you're underground; it should not be receiving any signal whatsoever.
You know yourself, we've been down there several times. Emma, I'll get to your question in a second because I'm intrigued about that.
And it was just strange that we were getting that. Then all of a sudden, the photo would come in, so we'd go to the gallery, and there would be a face staring straight at us, or a couple of shadows. And
was it Hank Marvin, one of them?
Yeah, with his guitar. But the thing was, over the course of Friday night, we'd literally amassed about 20 pictures that this camera had picked up.
Yeah.
And they all had something in them, and some of them were quite scary because they were standing right in front of us.
They weren't ghost dick pics, were they?
No.
They weren't flopping it in front of your nose or anything.
But we did find something that we're not too sure about. And that's because somebody else that I was with also downloaded the app.
Yeah.
And she got a similar picture, well, the same picture that I'd received.
Oh.
So straight away asked the question, is it the algorithm of the app? Yeah. Is it all pre-programmed? Or is it the spirit trying to pass over the same image to both of us?
I'll tell you what, send me the said image, right? And do you remember what I said just before we started about where I work?
Yeah.
When I'm in there on my own on that particular bit, I will set up, because I've downloaded the app now, I will set it off and see if that image comes through on mine as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it anywhere. It doesn't, literally, I tried it in my living room and it went off. And it was two shadow figures standing under the TV. So, it's a case of looking at these photos and comparing them with other people's ones and seeing if there's the same photos coming through. Like I said, we weren't too sure whether it was the spirit trying to convey the same image over to both of us, or whether it's pre-programmed white noise photo.
I'm just looking at the reviews.
I would more likely say it was the white noise photo pre-programmed into the app, but I'm not ruling out the other.
Actually, so far,
it was quite interesting.
I think, by the looks of it, the only ones where they've complained is they haven't updated their phone or they haven't got a fairly recent phone. But the rest of these seem like good reviews. So yeah, I'll try it at work in that one particular bit that I know has got something there. Yeah. See what comes up, and I'll obviously send them to you and we can compare them. So I remember one time I had the ghost detector on my phone, hadn't used it for ages, and I was in a church nearby me. And guess what happened? I pulled my phone off pulled your phone off to check time, and the ghost detector came on all by itself. See, my thing is, me personally, I won't do anything in churchyards. Well, inside churches, out of respect. I'm not religious, but I do believe there is something after life, because we wouldn't do this stuff if we didn't. But I don't think it's got anything to do with the religion that we know about, that's written down in books, because no. But there is something after death. But me personally, I'll like here where we live in Scarborough, there is an old Victorian abandoned pets cemetery, and I would like to go down there and see what comes up down there. But there's also a massive Victorian cemetery. But I would like to wander among the stones in the daytime and do it there. But I won't go into a churchyard or a church at night and do it, just because I think it's not nice to the people that have been laid there, That's just me. Maybe I'm being daft. Wayne smells. Yeah. Is Wayne okay? Has he nodded off? Is he still there? Are you still there, Wayne?
Yeah.
You still there? I think he's lagging. Are you lagging?
You keep freezing. You're freezing.
Am I freezing? Let's have a look at the internet. The internet's fine. Yeah, internet's on full power.
On my end, you're lagging.
Just looking. No. Am I lagging, people?
On my end, you keep freezing.
That's what I get here. You keep on that particular.
People in the comments, in the chat, can you say which is which? Who's lagging and who's not?
Please. Because Wayne keeps freezing, and he's like, one of the pictures just now that he froze on was, and it looked like he was sat in the loo for a minute. I suspect I'm doing the same thing.
When you started,
yes, it's come on all by itself.
I don't know. I can't tell whether it's freezing or not. Are you frozen?
Can you come out and come back in again? Because if I do that, it will close the entire thing.
I'll come out and come back in.
All right. Just 1 minute, everybody. Sorry about this. Can you see me? Hello, 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 hello. Can you see my big lightsaber? Just waiting for Wayne to come back in now. I don't know what's going on there. Wayne's lagging. Thank you. Right. Okay. So it's Wayne's end. All right, Wayne, you've got a dodgy end. What was your comment about you're in shock with everything that's been going on? Do you mean UFO wise? Do you mean Brazil opening up about the UFOs they've been in contact with and releasing all its documents and stuff? Or do you mean Elon Musk and Trump having a spat because Elon Musk keeps trying to get hold of him about his extended warranty? Or what? Wayne, come on, Wayne. Come on, Wayne. Where is he? I bet I've got a message on Messenger going, oh, no. Let's have a look. Oh, there he is. Right, there we go. They said it was your end. You got a dodgy end.
I don't know. My end said it was your end.
I've got me on the bottom here. I keep the internet thing, and it tells me I've got the boost thing on it. Tells me what it's at, and it's been at full the whole time.
I reckon we've got a gremlin in the middle.
We haven't mentioned Bobberments yet, have we? No. We will be.
No, we're not having that situation again.
We're always pissing somebody off in one of the Bobberments, but yeah. What was I going to say? Talking Bobberments. What do you make of the Brazilian government at the moment?
I'm going to say domino.
You got no idea, have you? Or domino?
No, I'm going to say domino because Brazil has started, and now another country will start, and then another country will do it, then another and another, and it's going to snowball. It's going to keep going. It's going to gain momentum. Japan
started first, didn't it? It opened up its office, which it's never done before, the UFO investigation office. Then Brazil came out and said, right, we're in contact with the UFOs and aliens, and have been. I haven't said that for a while. My nipples went extremely hard then. We have been in contact with them for a long time. We're working with them. Here's all our papers. They're open. They're free to open. Oh my God, there's another one. Hello. For everybody to look at and investigate, and they've been completely open and honest about everything. And do you remember when we changed the format of this show and we started it like we are now, and we first, one of the governments we first mentioned was Brazil, and we said how they were very open about how their contact and everything, and now they've come out and gone everything. In general, about if everything every day there is something major going on. All good now, both of you here, and see you good. Right, lovely. Thank you. There is always something going on, but you've got to remember, you've got left hand doing this, right hand over here. Everybody's watching this hand, but they're not watching what this hand's doing over here, and that's what's going on with the Bobberments.
I think as well, what has helped is with the recent sighting of the so-called Bogosphere.
What do you make of that? I'm still.
I'm
normally the first one to go, oh my God, it's aliens, but
I do find it very strange because it's not just there in Colombia that it's been spotted.
No, it's everywhere. Well,
a very similar craft landed at Manchester Airport and then took off again.
That's right, and I remember seeing the photos of that one.
There's been one seen in France. There's been one seen in China. In fact, I think there's been a couple seen in China,
Uh-huh.
as well as down in Colombia. So, you know, it's a very well organised and a very expensive hoax, if that's what it is.
I mean, Emma's just said something in the chat there. Personally, I think they're going to save us from nukes. Personally, everything I've been looking at lately and everything that's you have to do deep research for, they are the year 2027 keeps coming up on everything. I don't know if you've been seeing that, Wayne, but something is coming in the year 2027. It's not nukes, but something is coming, and whether it's they're going to stop a war, whether they're going to come along and say, you guys are going to join the Federation, but to do that, we have to get rid of all your bobberments and start again because they're all corrupt. Yay. I don't know, but everything is saying something is coming 2027. And this is, the thing is every year we get it's going to be this year, it's going to be that year, and we've been saying for the last 3 years, I think, 2025, 2027, haven't we?
Yeah.
But now everything, and I mean everything that I've been looking into, and because when on my quiet moments, on my breaks at work and stuff, I do research things, and everything is saying 2027. When that's very unusual. Normally they argue and go, no, it's not going to be this year, it's going to be that year, it's going to be this or that. But no, it's all 2027, and you've got the doomsayers saying, oh, we're fucked in 2027, and then you've got others saying actually they're here to sort us out and help save us. Because
I think that is a typical thing, isn't it? It's when Nostradamus predicts the end of the world is going to be this and it's going to be that, and he hasn't been precise, lost in translation over hundreds of years. And the fact that we
know it, like COVID, it was the end of the world as we knew it.
It's a case of it's not going to be the world's going to blow up. It's going to be a case of something's going to happen that's going to change our ways of life. So yes, it will be a big deal, but it will change us, and it should change us for the better. And and like you say, the naysayers are all standing there going, "Oh, we're doomed," and like, no, not necessarily.
But you'll get that. And another thing I've noticed is Lou Elizondo has been called out for being a deep fake plant. He's been called out for being like
an oak tree.
Yes, but he's been called out for being a government plant. So you listen to him and watch him, and he's just spreading false information. So he's been called out by several people. They've said Jeremy Corbell is spot on, but he's got a couple of things wrong, but he's genuine. And there's a couple of others that they've said. That fighter pilot on the USS Nimitz thing, I can't remember his name, glasses, he's been called out as spot on and genuine. And this is by, I can't say names, but this is by several high-ranking people. But Lou Elizondo has been called out, and they've said, nah, he's fake. He was government plant.
So, but we've been saying that, though, haven't we? We've been saying that with everything. For all the videos and whistleblowers that are out there that are honest and are actually telling the truth, there are going to be loads of others out there that are a load of crap and fake.
Yeah. Well, look at this. You see, you know yourself the problem we have now, because like for some reason, and I don't get this, everybody who's listening out there in all the different YouTube and in Instagram and God knows what else lands we go out on. When you send videos, don't just send them to me. Send them to Wayne, or send them to the Dark Mirror team. Because there's myself, there's Wayne, there's Josh. Because obviously poor Josh, he's at college and doing all his motorbike stuff and work and everything. He will be back when he can be. But send all of us the videos, because the ones that I get sent are mainly AI, and it's getting harder and harder to tell.
Yeah.
But the only way I can tell now with AI is I don't look at the main stuff. I look at the background, and the background is nearly always clearer than it is in real life.
Yeah, the eyes as well. When you've got
that's changing now.
Yeah, but the eyes and the mouth are quite hard for AI to get perfect. Because of things like the veins in the eye, in the eyes itself, dilation of the pupils sometimes are either way too big for the light conditions. So you can tell in some aspects whether the AI it's AI or not. But I mean, we've been saying it, haven't we? You know, literally for every one that's authentic, there's loads of fake ones. And I've been looking through TikTok, and mainly TikTok because that's where I do some of my work as well. But I found that there's a lot of videos out there that are so far fetched that you laugh at them straight away. But then when you get to things like the Boogosphere, where they're standing there saying, we've actually got the video of it going across a valley. And it was very difficult to see whether that was AI or not. And I would have to say that that was authentic because the skyline was fine. There was no
trees, doesn't it, at the end?
Yeah. There's no dodgy imagery, and you actually see it come down onto the ground, and all the plants, all the branches, they're all where they should be as it descends onto the floor.
Yeah.
It's from that point onwards that it becomes more harder to believe, like where they broke it open and they found circuit boards.
Hey, Noreen. Yeah.
And everybody all of a sudden started going on, oh, well, if it's got circuit boards, it must be human. Well, why can't an alien aircraft have circuit boards? It was the chip in the center that has confused everybody because it wasn't a chip that we have.
That's just what I was going to say. It's nothing we
know of.
We allegedly don't have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bear in mind. I was going to say, bear in mind for those that are watching. Everybody does this stuff knows that you've got. Those of you out there know about Black Ops. You know about shadow governments, you know about shadow military, and you know about the Black Pope and everything like that. If not, look it up. But the Black Ops or shadow military are supposed to be somewhere between 70 to 100 years in advance of us with their kit, but they obviously won't release the stuff because it gives them that edge. Have they got those chips? That's the only issue.
Are we ever going to know? I mean, if they are 100 years ahead of us, 50 to 100 years ahead of us, then in 50 to 100 years' time, those chips would be readily available because they would have gone on to something else. Yeah. And then we'd be going, oh, hang on a minute. I remember 50 years ago that there was that sphere thing and they took that chip out. So in a way, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. It may take them 50 to 100 years to do so, but they will still shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. I don't know why they do it because they keep coming out with absolute nonsense sometimes. And it has got to. Oh, by the way, Becky and Taylor, if you're watching, I am your father. My missus, if you're watching, Rachel, I am your daddy. Oh, anyway. Wayne just vomited in his mouth a little. Oh, we're available for birthdays and bar mitzvahs, and we can do lives and PAs and stuff. Just yeah, I've just been reading all the comments in here. For some reason, like Noreen's in here, but it's on the actual chat. It's not showing Noreen up. It's just showing Emma.
Yeah, I had. I think Joe is on here on my phone. Oh, I have got Noreen on here and Emma. On my iPad, I've just got Joe and Noreen.
Wonder why it's doing that.
Strange.
Very strange. Well, anyway, everybody who's in the chat there, we can't see higher. And I can see because I'm not looking at the number at the top. I go on here and look at the other number, and I can see we've got over 40 people watching this and various things at the moment. So hello to you all.
Hi, Noreen.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, there she is. Why? She didn't pop up at the beginning. Hi, Noreen. Yeah, we've got very strange things going on at the moment. You've got all this. Oh, and what was the other thing I read? Anunnaki. All the Nibiru and the twin suns and blah, 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 blah. Apparently it is on its way and it has been seen by our telescopes now. And they're all pushing it up. Again, whether that's true, whether that's bollocks, I don't know. But something has been seen. And if I remember rightly, something that has been seen that was similar to Oumuamua came up from one of our telescopes as well. And then they went, oh, it's possibly Oumuamua. No, Oumuamua fucked off to the other side of the galaxy. Don't try that shit on us. We're not that daft. Or are we? Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's better. Hello. I saw a little hand go.
Yeah, it's
Hello.
Chloe.
Hello, Chloe. Hello.
Tickles.
So, what do you make of all this?
Yeah. Problem is, again, we're looking at a lot of sort of game playing going on.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of videos where they've gone, oh, Nibiru. There's live footage of Nibiru. The sun's already gone down over there. The moon is up over there. What's that?
Yeah, I've seen a few of them.
And I'm like, really? And a couple of them, they were just so far from it.
Yeah, yeah.
You could tell there was something wasn't right with the video. And they couldn't keep, the camera itself was too still for it being on mobile phone footage. Way too still. Yeah. So they'd either used a tripod or that was manufactured.
Yeah, I think I know the one you mean. You've got the person go, oh my God, what is that over there? And it just pans really.
The sun's already gone down, it's over there, and the moon's up there. Yeah. What's this?
But there are a few, like my camera, when I do that, because it's on my laptop, and my laptop's open, it goes wobble, 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 wobble.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you see the ones that there are a few I've seen where it's proper, oh fuck, zoom in, and it is quite interesting. It's
like the ones where you see the moon get hit by a missile, and it zooms in on the moon, and you can see it, and it's fluid, and it literally goes zip straight up onto the moon, and then you see something hit it, and it cracks and blows up, and you can tell that's fake because obviously it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that reacted to it, oh my God, I'm like, seriously? If the moon had just blown up into millions of pieces, do you really think we'd all still be sitting here? We'd have been showered with rocks. The tides would have gone all bananas and weird. So
it's an interesting message up in the chat there. I think that when all the planets were aligned, they were able to hop from one planet to another. That's my personal thoughts on it.
It's possible. It's possible. When you think about it, it can take 6 months to get from here to Mars. And if all the planets are all lined up together, yes, you could planet hop.
Well, that would also explain how we managed to get bases on various other planets.
It'd be the easy way of doing it.
And also, I did know 2 names of 2 of the starships that are up in space that we have for the Space Force, and I've bloody well forgotten. It was the USS, I can't remember, but it was proof. It was proper proof that I saw. I'll have to see if I can find it again. But yeah, there's 2 of the starships have been named. Trump knows all about it. Trump has gone back on his word and said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to come forward and let us know about everything." He hasn't. I'm wondering what's going on between him, China, Russia, and North Korea. Are they going to have a barbecue? Are they going to have a party? Or was some idiot going to try and start World War III? If you do, don't. None of us want it. It's only fucking little idiots that sat at the top going, I'm bigger and better and tougher than you, that do this shit because they want to look well out to the rest of the world. Stop it. Nobody wants it. Fuck off the lot of you. Sorry, that's my take on that. Trudeau.
Hi, Lynn.
Hey, Lynn. Oh, yeah, it's Trudeau, isn't it? Does anybody want to say what? No. Nope.
It is right. I mean, it's, we all know the repercussions of an atom bomb or a nuclear bomb going off. We know what happens when one of them goes off. We know the consequences, and yet we still hold them.
Yeah.
And what good is it going to do anybody?
Nothing.
We all know what the end game is. No one wins in a nuclear war.
Yep.
So why have them?
All they will do is go underground to their big cities that they built underneath the US.
But then eventually they'll still soon kill themselves off anyway.
Well, the thing that what they haven't realized and what they haven't thought of, all these fucking idiots who, at the end of the day, are dictators, the ones that are rattling their sabers and saying, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And it doesn't matter which country it is. It doesn't matter whether it's communist, whether it's this, whether it's that. There are countries which have got dictators in. And I'm sorry, North America's one. UK sort of got one, but he's a puppet. and all the others. What they forget is when they go underground, if they start a war and they go underground and everybody and everything and all flora, fauna, everything is wiped out, and then you come back out from under the ground after everything's cleared, what the hell are you going to rule? Because there's going to be nothing there for you to rule. There won't be no elements. There will be nothing, absolutely nothing. So all this, I'm going to start a war, I'm going to this, I'm going to that, we're going to hide underground and then come back out again. You're going to be responsible for wiping out everything and then ruling nothing. Is it worth it?
You'll just have your hand over a handful of people.
Yeah, is it worth it?
And that'll be it.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Shooting the comets for minerals. Yeah, there are. There's also a cloud of alcohol up there in space that is so big it could keep everybody in the entire world drunk for, I think it was 147 years or something like that.
Unless it's near Clarkson's pub.
If it's near Clarkson's pub, or if it's near anywhere where the security team I work with go to the pub, it'll be drained within a couple of days. So
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, all this stuff that's going on, I've been watching what's going on, sitting back, and I've been looking down rabbit holes and stuff. There is something coming. I'm wondering if all this bullshit that's going on with, I'm going to do this, no, I'm going to do this, no, I'm going to do this. I'm wondering if this is all rhetoric to make themselves look big and tough to whoever is going to come down and see us. But what they forget is whoever is going to come down and see us that we've been talking to, they've got the tech, the knowledge to look at you and go, fuck off. Don't be so silly.
The thing is though, is that they are, I mean, obviously, if they're out there, they would be receiving broadcasts, whether it's radio or TV, and they'll be looking back at those because we know about the time differences, the time it takes for signals to get from A to B. So they could have just recently seen something that was in news headlines 3 years ago. So they're already going to have opinions of what's going on down here ages ago. And then when they get here, they're going to find that obviously the signals become quicker and they'll be playing catch up and they'll be going, oh, hang on a minute. He's now back in power again. He's now throwing his weight around. He's throwing his weight around. These people are just being general idiots. And the chances are going to be, they're going to stand there and go, do you know what? I don't think they're worth saving.
What about if all them sleeping giants that are in the mountains are going to wake up and cause chaos? Personally, myself, I don't think there's anything sleeping in mountains, but I do believe that there were giants, and it's been proved when you look at, well, just look at all the religious scrolls and then look at Nathan Rackham scrolls, and they describe them perfectly. Skeletons of them have been found, skulls have been found, went to the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian went, oh, let's just put these away. What skeletons? What giants? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we ain't got a clue what we're on about.
Is the Kandahar giant real? I don't see why not.
I think Emma's referring to ones such as, I can't remember the name of it now, in Hawaii. Features on Moana. The actual mountain itself looks like a sleeping lady, and that actually does. I can't remember the name of the island, but it does exist. And there's a few places around the world where the rocks have taken form of either an entire figure or a head or a face. And I think that's just pareidolia. I think it's just something somebody's made of something and made an old wives' tale out of it.
I think personally, my own thing, when we've spoken about this for years, is precursors. There are lots of precursors to us. We're not the first.
No.
I use the word intelligence loosely. We're not the first intelligent life forms on this planet, and there is proof. More and more stuff is coming to light of people before us and civilizations before us and bigger people than us, and this, from not just thousands but millions of years ago. Were the Anunnaki they precursors to us who discovered the technology for space flight, the technology to leave behind caretakers for this earth, and they buggered off to another planet? Or were they really from another planet and came here? No one knows apart from them. And Anunnaki isn't actually the race; it's just an old word that means, I think it means people from space or people, something like that. It doesn't actually mean it's their race; it just means they're from out there. But when you look at all the old scrolls and stuff, very interesting. The same with Atlantis. Personally, I think that was again either precursors to us or built by the Anunnaki, who were supposed to be our gods, you know. I think it was a real thing. And also I think that when it went up, because I've been reading something else again recently, which has kind of corroborated what I said ages ago, or what we said ages ago. Do you remember we said that the Atlantis going down was, I think they fucked up a power source that they had, and it went bang, and it was linked to the other mega cities that were around the world, because there was only a few back then. And when they all went bang, it caused that massive tidal wave that flooded the earth. And then when you look at all the religious books, not just the Bible, but the Mahabharata, all that sort of stuff, and all faiths all have one thing in common. They all talk about the flood wiping out most of humanity, you know. And then I look back, what was it I was reading? They found what they think is the remains or part of the remains of Atlantis. And they found what they think are part of the remains of tech that they have no idea what the hell it is or what, you know, we have. There's more and more stuff coming to light. And there's more and more stuff coming to light about precursors. But again, were the precursors from outer space? Were they precursors to us? Were they the gods? Did they make us? I'd like to know all this stuff. I really would. And also, can they get me a new hand and a new leg? That'd be nice. Maybe a bigger willy too. Maybe a bigger willy too. That'd be good. Wayne said he wants one as well. Anyway, so hello guys from House Things. Dogman. Oh, hi mate. How you doing? We're okay. They found a woman giant with the war was going on with Iraq nearby. She has red hair and the army was ordered to shoot her in the face. I know about the Kandahar giant. I don't know about the female one. I know about Apollo 19 that went to the moon and found that craft.
I think I know what Emma's talking about. That wasn't Iraq. That was in Afghanistan. That was the red-headed monster of the mythical proportions. That was the giant at Kandahar.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Because taking out any teams that went up there.
Yeah, but he was only apparently 12 foot tall. So you're talking sort of Nephilim, Anunnaki proportions, or Bigfoot, Sasquatch. And as we've been saying before, with the likes of Bigfoot and Sasquatch, is that they take on a different appearance depending on where they're spotted. So maybe in Afghanistan, Bigfoot over there is red-headed and very strong and fast and everything that the Americans said it was.
There's interesting stories that come out from, and it's not been just American Special Forces, it's been UK Special Forces, and a weird one I read the other day. It was Slovakian. I think it was Slovakian Special Forces, to do with all the pyramids around the world and the previous tech from previous people before us. The city that was discovered in Antarctica. There's more evidence coming out about that. You know, when all the heads of state a few years ago went down there. Apparently, it is real. It is a city, and it's now part of the no-fly zone that's over. They've been installed over that particular bit now. And there's been security personnel or scientists that have been out there conducting research have come back and gone, do you know what? Fuck the non-disclosure thing. And they've been coming out and saying stuff. But for every real thing that comes out there, the Bobblement and the agents of the Bobblements that are meant to put out misinformation will put out about 200 things to say, nah, bollocks, and try and turn it into a story and make you think that this is a story it's made up. So the truth is out there, but you just got to know what you're looking for and where to find it.
Yeah, you've got to decipher it, because there's so much, like we've said, you know, there is an authentic and truthful story out there, but there's so much chaff around it that you've got to sift through all that chaff to find the real story itself.
It's like one of the things that we've said about, and again, I'm not daft enough to think, neither Wayne, we're not daft enough to think that every single thing you see in the sky is an alien, or every single thing that you see is a real alien or a cryptid or whatever. There's a hell of a lot of misidentified and not looked at correctly and seen properly stuff. But originally it was the reptilians were supposed to be the ones that tried and wipe out everybody and wipe out us and wipe out all other things because they just want to rule the entire galaxy. And now they're trying to say that the reptilians are good and want to work with us, and that we have a group of reptilians that live underneath the earth. So, do you see what I mean? It's like the stuff where we heard they were bad was supposed to come from Andromedans and the what were they called? The Nordic aliens. And I personally think the Nordic aliens may possibly have been where the original Legends of Elves, not elves, elves came from, the Fae folk. You know, don't know, but little thing I've got going on after reading a few things. But they were the ones, and they, again, if you look it up, the Galactic Alliance that we're supposed to be going to be a part of, a member of, have said it's the reptilians that you don't trust. They're the ones that want the war. And now all this other stuff's coming out. Oh no, they're good guys. Then we need to work with them. So, and that's only been the last few months, I think, that I've started to see that stuff come out. So that tells me that that's bollocks and it's been put out there, because all the other stuff has stayed true the whole way through it. But what do you reckon?
Yeah. No, it's I like we're saying, you know, there's so much out there. It's working it out, and it's finding the right from the wrong.
Yeah.
Which is correct and which isn't. And it's the problem is you get the same thing with going out ghost hunting. You know, people take a video and go, "Oh, there's something in the woods there," and it's night vision camera. It's not the best camera they've used, and so the pixelage comes in because the camera's trying to translate what it's seeing, and because it can't do it, it just creates a blank. And so that blank just so happens to be next to a tree, so it looks like something's popping out from behind the tree and things like that. But people will still believe that what that person had caught was real. And it's not until that person actually gets told that if you zoom in, you'll find that's pixeled. That's a blank spot that the camera has filled in. And then the video mysteriously disappears. But then you'll also get the other people that will go, no, this was authentic. I was there. It was this sort of camera, blah, blah, blah. And they will stick to their guns, you know, until they die.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's some of it you have to take with a pinch of salt. Some of it's obvious, but some of it does take a lot of research into to ascertain whether you know, whether it's real or not.
Well, it's like exactly what you just said. I mean, I've had, you know, about the one I was sent of the person walking down the hallway. Now, I get sent videos. 99% of them, it's not real. But when you try and persuade somebody who's absolutely convinced that it is real, but because you get blinded, because you're like, oh my God, it's this. I've actually got the proof. And then somebody who wasn't there and didn't have this, that, and the other, somebody like us, and we'd go, okay, let's have a look at it. And you look at it and go, actually, no, you can see where this comes out and where it follows the backwash, and, you know, and 9 out of 10 times they'll get really, really angry and swear and curse at you. And we're not here to poo-poo anything, because we believe in all this stuff. However, if you sat back and look at what's been sent to you, you go, oh well, you can clearly see it's, you know, because I'd love us to be sent an actual real video where we can go, yes, you know.
Well, the thing is, there is a video that you were in. Oh, and that's the video at Kelvin and Hatch. Yeah. That was clearly a face. Now, you were there. You know who was accounted for. You knew that everybody that was in that room was within camera shot. No one was behind that screen. And yet twice you can clearly see somebody's face in the gap between the screen.
And the thing is, that video, I didn't know anything about having that face there until, it was a couple of years afterwards, and somebody said, Mark, you're in the video. Do you remember? I was like, what fucking video? And then I've looked at it and I'm like, oh yeah, there's me. And then it kind of spans around, there's that fucking face looking like that. You know? So
and it just so happens to be in one of the most haunted areas of it was in the infirmary. That's the most haunted area in the whole building.
Yeah.
So you know, but then you've got, well, somebody else has taken that video somebody other than that person has actually spotted the face. They've spotted the face and pointed it out to other people, including yourself, and other people have analysed it and looked at it and gone, well, everybody's accounted for, so who is that?
They're like I say, I didn't know anything about it until I think it was on Slapped Ham, one of their videos, and then somebody said, "Oh, Mark, you're on a video." I'm like, "What the hell?" And yeah, sure enough, I was. But that face, I don't know. There is part of that. I don't know if it was on that video or in part of the actual whole night's video. But when that face was seen, I go behind it with the camera, and you can see it. There's just a pile of mats, floor mats, like about 2 meters long by about 1.5 meters wide. There's just a load of floor mats behind there, and where the face was, there's no way that face could have been there because the mats were too high. The mats were about there, and the face was about here. So I don't know what the hell it was. At the end of the day, we're all in this together, and they lied to us from day dot. Yeah, they did. I studied with Jehovah's Witnesses for a year. My question then was, if there was a God, why does he allow the pain and death? Yeah, exactly. I was told that in the beginning of time, the angel next to God said he could do a better job, so to be as good as God, and he said, prove it. No, but the abyss opened and was ready to take all the wrong ones. Good. See, another thing is that there's a lot of people who make mistakes, genuine mistakes, and they get slammed for it and get told, oh, you're going to hell, you're going to this, you're going to that. I don't think that's true. I think everybody learns by their mistakes. I do think there are atrocious people out there who will never, ever learn, like Hitler for one. But I think the whole heaven and hell, angels and demons thing is misinterpretation. And I'm not trying to blaspheme any religion or anything. This is just when Wayne and I have spoken, this is our own thing. I think that angels and demons were back when they had a scrap in our skies, and it was two lots of the Anunnaki, Enki and then Lil, warring with each other. Enki wanted us to survive, and Lil was jealous and didn't want us to survive. So they had a scrap. Us back then didn't know any better, saw these things flying around in the air, killing each other. The good guys were the angels, bad guys were demons. That's what they were told. They were told, or we were told back then. Oh, they're demons. They're bad guys. And Lil and Enki got turned, they got turned into, for want of a better word, God and the devil. And that's where all that comes from. Looking, and again, this is not something I've just come up with. It's looking at all the religious texts, and then you go back and look at the Babylonian scrolls, go back and look at the Emerald scrolls. And it's kind of all there for you to see if you read it properly, but read it in a chronological order. And then afterwards, our only way of explaining it is demons and angels had a war over us. They did. The Anunnaki had a war over us because one lot didn't want us to survive, because we could eventually be better than them. And even Enki says they will be better than us. I put it in their DNA for them to eventually evolve to be better than us. Lilith. What's our views on Lilith? Lilith was bastardized because she shunned the advances of a king that wanted to take over her country. Her husband died. She took over as queen, and then she was bastardized. And because she refused to take the advances of the other king, and then when he bust in to try and get her and rape her, basically, she chucked herself out of a window. And rather than be martyred, the faith back then, unfortunately, was part of the ancient Muslim faith. So I'm not going to knock religion. And back then it was, women can't do this. She's going to be bastardized and turned into this, that, and the other. So they all try and say Lilith was the first woman and this, that, and the other. The Lilith of that is supposed to be the first vampire. Is the one that chucked herself out of the window to avoid the advances of that king. So that's what that was. And because she spurned him, all the religions at the time went, demon, first vampire. So
I mean, the thing is when you look at things like that, and you look at things like angels and demons, so on, when you look at it, it's always worth doing the research. Simply because the word demon is not a negative word.
No, it's not.
Demon actually dates back to ancient Greece. The first use of the word demon was in ancient Greece, and it was actually daemon, meaning a spirit or divine power.
Yeah.
Nothing negative about it. So
I mean,
it's been with the modern translation. The word has changed over the years. Demon was spelt Daimon,
Damon, yeah.
and over the years it changed. But also, so did the stories about the daemon
Yep, yep.
changed. And like with Lilith, the name was bastardized.
Yeah.
You know, it was put in a negative context. The stories about it was made negative rather than positive. And so over the years, that translation has altered the perception of that object or that thing or that person to be a negative thing rather than a positive.
I do think there are negative energies, and I do think there are negative universes and negative dimensions. You know, for everything positive, there has to be negative, you know. But I don't think, I think there are what you would call angels and demons. Yes, I think they're real, but I think they've been misinterpreted. And I do think there are horrific beings out there that for some reason just like to do horrific things and live that way and tear things apart and do horrible things to people. I do. The same as there are good, you know, but I think it's all to do with misinterpretation, people who are easily manipulated. Maybe there's some beings out there who know they've been misinterpreted and go, do you know what, fuck yeah, we're going to go by this. You don't know. But I do think more and more evidence comes to light that it was started off as a misinterpretation. But whatever, angels and demons, they had a war because one lot wanted rid of us, and they were the ones who got turned into demons. And I can understand why. I get it. Completely get it. And the one that ruled them, you know, he's now the big boss of the demons. Yeah, completely understand it. Didn't want us, didn't want to know us, wanted to get rid of us. Caused the flood to again, this is another one. You've got the Atlantis going off, which is supposed to have done anything, but also according to the ancient scrolls, when the flood happened, it was caused by, I can't remember which one's the good one, which one's the bad one. I think Enki's the good one, and then Lil's the bad one, whichever way around it was. But it was the bad one that set off the explosion, which caused the ripple effect, got all the other ones to blow up, and then caused a massive tsunami. But as I say, that's in every single religious text. There's the earth-shattering event that happened that wiped out most of humanity. And also, they have found evidence of Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, the cities that were completely debauched and bumming each other and God knows what else, and that's where you get Sodom from. And they said it was done as a parable for people not to do naughty, dirty things. Well, they think they've actually found the remains of, is it Gomorrah? I think it's Gomorrah. And it had been, how did they describe it? It had been, you know, like you get shock glass. Yeah. And if you know, and I'm not talking about shock glass from lightning, I'm talking about nuclear shock glass. They found that, and they found evidence of things that were immediately vitrified and petrified. And it's in the exact area where these cities were supposed to be. So they found evidence of that, but it wasn't God raining down meteors on them. It was a fucking strike. It was a tactical strike that went and wiped the whole cities out. But they found evidence of it. The same as in Asia, you get spots of places where they find nuclear shock glass and nuclear radiation. That's about.
And there was a place in India as well, wasn't there?
They found
the place in India when they went to dig the foundations. They dug so far down, and they found the shock glass down there. And they said that the only thing that could have caused that is radiation from an explosion.
Yeah, look at the million-year-old. Sorry, look at the million and there's a million-year-old depleted uranium. There's a 1.5 million-year-old remains of a power or nuclear power station that's been found in Russia, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, if there's been nobody before us, explain all that. Banished by God at the request of Adam for not. Yeah, but that's what I was on about. If you just stick to religious books and think, that's where that came from, meh. But when you actually read into Lilith, actually properly research Lilith was a queen. Her husband died, and a neighboring king wanted to take over their kingdom straight away. And he was like, right, I'm going to have you, Lilith. You're going to marry me. And that way I can take over your kingdom, queendom, whatever you want to call it. she wouldn't submit to him, and because she wouldn't submit to him, she jumped out the window so he couldn't get with her, killed herself, martyred herself. But the religions went, no, we can't have a woman martyring herself. Oh, no, 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 no. We're going to bastardize that and turn her into a demon.
But even when you look at that, was banished by God at the request of Adam for not laying down with him in submission. Well, no, why should she? She didn't want to, so why banish her?
She had free will. In that version of it, she has free will.
Exactly. So
why should everybody do what these beings that have got all the power and this and the other? I mean, the obvious is I don't want to be killed, but why should everybody bow down and do what these things say just because they've got these powers or technology that we can't comprehend yet? You know, we shouldn't. We should all look back and go, what's the reason behind this? Okay, I can do that. I can see the good in it. Or you can go, not a bloody chance because I can see the bad in it. You know, it's up to us like free will.
It's like standing in a supermarket, tossing up between whether I have a bag of carrots or a bag of donuts. And then someone pops up behind you and says, go on, have the donuts. They're really good. Take the donuts. And then you turn around and go, no, I'm going for the carrots because they're healthier for me.
Yeah.
And they're, oh, well, I don't want to know you because you're not having the donuts. Yeah. Whatever. It's free will. You know, if you don't want to, you shouldn't have to expect to be doing that. And that's what that text is saying.
And most of the things in all religious books, and like I say, don't get me wrong, nobody here is poo-pooing religion. No one. There is life after death. There is ascension. There is all that sort of thing. We just don't understand it yet. But religion is all these things that we understand a little bit about now. But back then, none of us did. And it was put into ways that we could probably understand it back then in all religions, you know. And I get that. I understand that. But also, what you've got to remember is the newest book, and of the ancient ones, is the Bible. I don't mean the King John one. I mean the one before it. And you've got to think, all religions, not just Catholic, all religions came together for that conclave to decide what was going to go in that book, the Bible, and then they made their own versions for each religion. And it was this conclave of all these different religions that came around and said, blah, 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 blah. And the main thing in it was you take out anything that says a woman had power or a woman was good and a woman did this and a woman did the other. And what they all forget is none of us would be fucking here if it wasn't for women. And they took out anything that said that the prophets or the gods or Jesus or whatever dared marry, dared have children, you know. And he did. It was a man with powers. They think he was half Anunnaki. Or he could have been, this is Jesus. They think he was half Anunnaki. And he had powers and he could persuade people and he was charismatic. But he was a carpenter and he also had human DNA in him and he had human needs. Why not get married? Why not have children? So fucking what if he did? Absolutely good on him. But they left all that out. They destroyed all the books. The book of Mary Magdalene, they took it out. They destroyed it. And the book of what's his name? Who went up in space? Was it no, not Abraham.
There were quite a few that went up into space.
No, the one that went in the main one, he says he never died. He just moved on, and that's what they're all going about. He went into space and he described what the Earth looks like from space.
What, Enoch?
Enoch, yes. We couldn't possibly have known that. How did they know that?
Yeah.
So they left all that out. Anything that talks about, although there's various bits that talks about aliens and tech, they've been very careful to leave out books with definitive proof, and they've also taken books on the timelines and swapped them around and moved them and altered them.
Well, they even retranslated the Anunnaki, didn't they? Because they're classed as the shining ones in the Bible.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So although we don't talk, the Christian Bible doesn't talk about the Anunnaki or the Nephilim, because technically that's what Adam and Eve would be. If you go by the Bible, they are Nephilim because they were God's creation, which would be the Anunnaki. So they've left the Anunnaki out of the equation, but they've renamed them the Shining Ones, being the angels and the demons of what we class it now in the Bible as, were the good and the bad Anunnaki.
Yeah. Having their scrap over us.
And they had a scrap over us. So, you know, it's all down to the original translations. But when you see the texts that predate the Bible,
Yep. That's
the
it.
evidence is there.
There you go. You just heard it from the man himself. That's what we've been trying to say so many times. The Bible is a lot of books from all different religions that was taken in this conclave, put together. Right, well, we'll put this one there, and we'll put that, change it, take that little bit of that wording and put it there. Delete that bit. Right, we'll put that one there. Oh, that's a woman. Get rid of that one. Oh, that's another woman. Get rid of that one. Oh, we had children. Oh, get rid of that one. You know. And that's what they did. And then King James came along, who was fuck all to do with religion. King James came along and went, oh, do you know what? And he did exactly the same thing. And the Bible.
I know what, we'll add witches into the Bible.
Yeah.
How can you do that like 1,500 years after the event? You know, you can't do that. And the whole idea of the Bible was from the Dead Sea Scrolls. And there are so many of the Dead Sea Scrolls that were excluded from the finished Bible. But if you were to add them to the Bible would be 4 or 5 times the size it actually is.
And they kept our DNA life. Yes, they did. And that's been proved that to have happened over a span of 20,000 years, which in human evolution is that. But it happened about 150 to 200,000 years ago, and it's been proved, scientifically proved, that our DNA was altered with back then, and that our telomere caps were done, and we went from living for hundreds, if not thousands of years, to we lived relatively very short lives, like 25, 30 years, and now it's gradually coming back up again.
Yeah, and it's creeping back up again because we're finding the ways to counteract what they did. You know, I mean
I'm 53 in a week. Wouldn't think.
I mean, we sit there and we say to ourselves that, you know, I mean, if you go back 150, 200 years, the average life expectancy of somebody would have been about 60 to 70. You'd be lucky to get to 80.
Well,
now most people get to 80.
Yeah, Vikings. 50 was ancient. People in Viking Saxon times normally lived till about late 20s, early 30s. And witches and things like that, I still believe most of them that were killed weren't witches. They were just despised by their neighbours or somebody.
They were herbalists.
Somebody off. Yeah, and you had and still have herbalists, white witches, and hedge witches, which are people who just know how to study nature, things that grow, watching how things move. There's also some that I do believe have knowledge of how to get powers, but there's good and bad. There's good stuff, there's bad stuff. It's up to you how you choose to use it. But I think the good stuff and the bad stuff is all stuff. It's the same thing, but I think the bad stuff is a way of accessing it quicker. And that's why people sometimes choose the bad stuff, because it's just lazy. Stick with the good stuff, guys. Don't go for the bad stuff. No. I do think there's a lot of stuff out there that's left over from precursors, from when we were first made, and stuff that's been put in us that we haven't accessed, but some people can. Like our brain. We only use a tiny proportion of our brain. A lot of them are now in charge of countries. But you know, we have various bits on our head that's been proved work in several different dimensions. They don't know which dimensions. And they also think that we have the ability to use ESP and other sorts of powers. Some can use it. Lots of us haven't finally figured out how to unlock it yet. I'd love to. I really would. I'd love to be stood there and just look at something.
Well, again, this would go back to the putting a cap on our DNA. You know, we only use a third of our brain.
That's right. The
Bible for years, we've said, what's the other 2/3 of our brain used for? Our brains are so much capable of doing so much more, but they're not. They're in how can we put it? In technological terms, our brain at the moment is just being used as a life support machine, but it's capable of doing so much more.
We just haven't unlocked it.
We haven't unlocked it.
They won't tell us. So
we've got to find a way of unlocking it.
Oh, and Dogman, big hugs, mate. On the loss of your father. I know how it feels, mate. So yeah, big hugs from us all. What was that he said? The Bible's heavily edited by the Greeks. Yeah, and that's the weird thing you've got to think about. The Greeks heavily edited the Bible, yet they had their own Parthenon of gods. everywhere had their own Parthenon of gods, and it was the same Parthenon with the same head god and
Yep.
the same one that did other things, just different names, and names were changed to protect the innocent. So why did they go from that to the singular god? And it wasn't Amun-Ra that changed it for the world. It was all the religions coming together for the conclave. Anyway, on that note, have you got anything you want to say? Because we have to buggity offy.
No, not
no.
really.
No, okay. We will be back next Monday, 9:30, as usual. We do have a glitches every now and again. Wayne's got kids, you know, and sometimes they get to the point where he's like, "I need a day off," so he does, you know, and yeah, we all get ill sometimes. Josh, come back and join us soon. Taylor would like to join us sometimes as well, and Becky would like to jump on the show with us at some point. And anybody else who would like to come on and be a guest, let us know. But for now, it's goodbye from me, and we will see you next week. Wayne, you got any last thoughts or anything?
Bed.
No. Okay. Right. Thank you ever so much for joining us in every single format this is going out on. And the discussions tonight has been brilliant. Keep it up. We'll do this next week. We will see you all next week. And it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him. Say goodbye.
And goodbye for him.
Right. We are out of here.